WOCA and Chick-fil-A in the Paddock Mall.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala!
All right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. You know, we are an interesting species, us human beings. We try to be the hero. We try to stop people from being bullies and taking somebody else's stuff, and we even go to war to prevent the emerging enemy to take over the land of somebody else, and yet we have this huge thing in our background where we did that same exact thing to the natives of this continent once upon a time. And I know we always say, well, that was then, this is now. And yeah, I guess there's a lot of truth to that. But still, it is an interesting thing that happened, just about completely committed genocide on the Native Americans of this country. Fortunately, not completely. And unfortunately, some of them still are like living in reservations, and I can't really comment on the whole nation, but just the few people that I've spoken to, I've often thought, wow, your whole nation, your whatever they were called back then, was destroyed. Mm-hmm. Katherine Bell has written a wonderful book. A lot of the comments that I've seen online refer to her writing as like lyrical, which I love that.
Yeah,
I mean that kind of says something deeper than just writing. It's not lyrics; it is prose. But Katherine has written this wonderful book called Rush of Shadows, and she's on the phone. She herself is a therapist, it says here, and a researcher and a teacher at Washington International School. This is an historical novel, so she did a lot of research. It brings to life the clash between natives and settlers in 19th century California. We couldn't push them any farther than that. That's about as far west as we could go, right? Katherine Bell. Good morning, Katherine. How are you?
Good morning, and thanks for that wonderful introduction.
Oh, you're welcome. Where are you right now?
I'm in Washington, D.C.
Okay. Oh, wow. Do you live in New England? Where was I reading that?
Grew up in New England, and I live in Washington, D.C.
Oh, okay. So how did the story end up taking place in California?
Well, you said we had this background, things that we did once upon a time, and as you know, unfortunately, it wasn't once upon a time, but over and over, starting with New England, where I come from.
Good point, yeah.
But I married a Californian, a fourth-generation Californian, and we used to spend some time visiting out there, and there was a family story. My husband's grandmother was born in 1869, way back, and she remembered playing with Indian children on the ranch where her father was the manager, and their fathers were working. And when she was 4 years old, what she never forgot was that the army came to round up the Indians and march them away to the reservation. So that's how I first got interested in what must have happened, how it must have been.
Yeah, we have come a long way. I mean, look at how we treated the people we brought over from Africa to work as our workers for free, our slaves. We've come a long way, and hopefully we're making the world realize that they have to kind of come this way too. In order to do this, the characters in the book, were they based on actual people that you discovered in your research?
There were suggestions about them from actual people, but basically I made them all up, except that it felt more like listening to them than actually creating them.
Really?
They seemed to be talking to me in a sense.
But you have very, very true scenarios, especially where the two women are concerned. They see what's going on. I mean, the white settler character, she was having problems in childbirth, and the Native American came and helped her, and then she reciprocated later on down the line when the village was going to be massacred by the whites.
Well, that's what I'm hoping that the book will kind of highlight, is ways that people could do better than we've sometimes done, and ways that we sometimes have done better than we've done at other times. Like that fact that it's better to be friendly and curious about strange people rather than calling them savages or terrorists. Friendliness and curiosity will get you a lot further. A lot of people don't know, though, that there was pretty much slavery in California with Indians in the 19th century. In 1850, the California legislature passed the Indian Indenture Act, and it provided that on the complaint of any white citizen, an Indian could be seized and sold to the highest bidder.
Wow.
So
At the complaint.
Yeah.
Wow. That is, wow. Gosh. And look what California became. It's considered the most free thinking of the states right now. You know, I agree with that. It's just what it's mostly portrayed as. I want to go back to something you said, Katherine. You said it sounded like when you were writing the book, the characters were talking to you. I love that. But there must be something to that. You must have done so much research that you understood basically who these people were, and I'm guessing that you typically are able to see deeper into a person you're speaking to.
Well, yeah, I did do a lot of research over a long period of time, and that did mean that I was able to be receptive to suggestions that came up in my reading and in the people I talked to and so on. Yeah.
It's just amazing how ordinary people can find ways to survive with everybody in their community, but once the politicians step in, they really generate all of these feelings of unrest, even though it's not true.
Well, yeah. On the other hand, you have to consider that the settlers themselves, ordinary people, well-meaning people, they arrived in California. Here was maybe the first land they had a chance of taking up, as they would have said, and creating a new life for themselves. They didn't mean to be cruel necessarily, but they created a sort of pressure on the Indian life that made that life impossible to sustain.
Because this is such a short interview, I want to ask you to give us like a movie trailer storyline of the book for our listeners so they know what the story is. The book, again, is called Rush of Shadows. Katherine Bell is the author. Katherine, give us like a thumbnail sketch of the story.
The story follows a pioneer woman named Melly who comes in to a valley in the Northern California Coast Range with her husband, Law. She's pregnant, and there are two brothers in the valley. Those are the only other white settlers, and the other people there are Indians. There are a lot of Indians there. And Law sort of has the attitude that we give the Indians a birth, and we don't cause any trouble, we don't get any trouble from them. But Melly is more curious. She has a father who is a kind of rogue doctor guy who's actually interested in the Indians. And so there's that tension between the two of them. She makes friends with this Indian woman who helps her in childbirth. But gradually, as more settlers arrive, as I said, the pressures become extreme on the Indians. Less game, less access to acorns, which is their staple crop, diseases. And there are a variety of attitudes toward the Indians. Some people say, exterminate them. It's the only thing.
Yeah. Well, gosh, obviously you are painting the picture that needed to be painted with this one. I love the fact that people regard your work as lyrical. I can see that. Some of the chapters are a paragraph, and that's typical of a songwriter or a poet or something like that, and very colorful, very descriptive. This is your first novel, huh?
Yeah, I've written published a bunch of short stories. This is the first long thing I've done.
Wow. Well, good luck with this. I have a copy of this book. It's called Rush of Shadows. You're going to love it. Katherine Bell is the author. She spells her first name with a C. If you want to look her up, we'll get the website in just a second. First, call me if you want the copy that was sent to me, 622-9622. Katherine, real quickly, do you have a website?
Yeah, CF, as in Francis, Bell, CF Bell Fiction cfbellfiction.com.
cfbellfiction.com.
Right.
Okay, and what is this one? WashingtonWriters.org? Is that a group you're in?
That's the publisher, Washington Writers
Oh.
Publishing House.
Okay. Let me give the book away. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
Betty.
Betty, you got the book. Come pick it up.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Katherine, thank you for doing this, and thank you for being on the air. I truly think that your book is making the world a better place, so thank you for doing that.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed talking to you.
Very good interview. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
Your weekends are getting a little retooled.
Swear to God, not making a joke.
Check this out. New shows? Check. Some new talent? Check. Let's welcome the guys.
Let's get it going.
Arnie Spanier.
Unbelievable.
TJ Reeves.
This is what you get.
Your weekends are on fire.
Because that's how exotic it is.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Are you tired of not using your home's outdoor space for entertaining or relaxation because of all the bugs and leaves? Consider adding a beautiful screen room or glass enclosure. We are Superior Aluminum and Design, a family-owned and operated business with 20 years experience in the aluminum industry, and we are accredited by the Better Business Bureau. If you appreciate superior workmanship, call Superior Aluminum and Design at 817-8058 or visit us on the web at superiораluminumdesign.com.
You've got to go.